Let me ask you a question that most men think about but rarely say out loud. What actually happens if you ejaculate every single day? Is it healthy? Is it harmful? Could it boost your performance or secretly drain your energy over time? If you've ever wondered about this, you're not alone. I hear this question constantly from men of all ages, all backgrounds, all levels of health awareness. It's one of those topics that lives in the shadows, half whispers, outdated myths, even guilt. And yet, it sits at the very center of men's health, relationships, and confidence. Today, we're breaking that silence. I'm Dr. William Lee, physician, scientist, and author, and I've spent decades studying how the body works at its deepest biological level. Most people know me for my work on food, cancer, and the science of health. But today, we're going somewhere most doctors still refuse to go. The honest, evidence-based conversation about male sexual health that men actually need. In this video, I'm going to give you the full picture. The 5 surprising benefits of ejaculating daily. The 5 real drawbacks you need to understand. And most importantly, how to determine what's right for your body, your biology, and your goals. By the end of this, you'll have clarity, not confusion, confidence, not shame, practical knowledge, not guesswork. But first, drop a comment below. Where are you watching from today? I genuinely love seeing this community grow across every corner of the world. And while you're down there, hit that like button and subscribe, because every week we tackle the science of human health with the honesty and rigor it deserves. Now, let's get into it. Let's clear up the biggest misconception right away. There is no universal answer. Ejaculating every day isn't automatically beneficial, and it isn't automatically harmful. It depends on the context, why you're doing it, how it fits into your life, what it's doing to your body and your mind over time. Some men genuinely thrive on a daily release. Better sleep, lower stress, sharper mental focus, stronger confidence. Others find that it dulls their desire, drains their vitality, or creates performance issues that quietly compound over months. The truth here isn't binary. It lives in biology, behavior, and self-awareness. And that's exactly the kind of nuanced, evidence-grounded conversation I want to have with you today. Here's what I want you to understand first. If you felt uncertain or even embarrassed about this topic, that's not a reflection of your intelligence. It's a reflection of how badly the medical establishment has failed men when it comes to sexual health education. We train doctors to treat disease, but rarely to teach men how their own bodies actually work in this domain. That's why I'm here. Think of this as a direct physician-to-man conversation. No moralizing, no myths, just science you can use. Benefit number 1, the neurochemical reset, mood regulation, AND, mental clarity. Ever notice how mentally clear and physically settled you feel after ejaculation? That's not coincidence or placebo. That's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. When a man ejaculates, the brain releases a powerful and coordinated surge of neurochemicals. Endorphins, your body's internal painkillers, flood your system, reducing physical and psychological tension almost immediately. Dopamine spikes, delivering a sharp sense of reward and motivation. Oxytocin, the bonding neurochemical, promotes feelings of trust, warmth, and emotional connection. And serotonin, the body's great stabilizer, settles your mood and keeps anxiety at bay. From a biological standpoint, this is a full nervous system reset. It's not unlike what happens during vigorous exercise or deep meditation, a calibration of your internal chemistry toward calm and coherence. In practical terms, this translates to less reactive behavior, fewer stress-driven decisions, and a greater sense of emotional grounding throughout your day. For men carrying significant psychological load, high-pressure careers, demanding relationships, complex responsibilities, daily ejaculation can serve as a consistent, low-cost tool for emotional regulation. The key word there is tool, not escape, not dependency. A tool, one that, used consciously, supports mental health alongside other healthy practices. Benefit number 2. Sleep architecture A&D recovery here is a biological fact most men never learn. Ejaculation is one of the most reliable triggers of prolactin release the human body has. Prolactin is a hormone that signals rest. It promotes relaxation, reduces arousal, and prepares your nervous system for sleep. Layer that on top of the endorphins and oxytocin already circulating in your bloodstream, and you've created a remarkably effective internal sleep induction mechanism. For men who struggle with sleep, and research consistently shows that men are among the most sleep-deprived demographic on the planet, this matters enormously. The inability to quiet a racing mind at night, to decompress after long days, to cross the threshold from wakefulness into deep restorative sleep, these are problems that affect cognitive performance, metabolic health, cardiovascular function, and longevity. Daily ejaculation, particularly in the evening, can help accelerate that transition, not because it's magic, but because the hormonal environment it creates is genuinely conducive to sleep onset and maintenance. Better sleep means better everything. Sharper cognition, faster physical recovery, stronger immune response, and more stable emotional regulation the next day. This is the compounding biology of a good habit. Benefit number 3, cardiovascular function A&D circulation. Most men think of ejaculation as a localized event. It isn't. It's a full-body cardiovascular experience. During sexual arousal and orgasm, your blood vessels dilate, a process called vasodilation. Heart rate elevates. Blood pressure shifts dynamically. Circulation increases dramatically, delivering oxygen and nutrients to your muscles, your organs, your skin, and your brain. Think of it as a vascular training event, a low-intensity cardiovascular stimulus that exercises the flexibility and responsiveness of your blood vessels. Over time, this contributes to better endothelial health, the health of the inner lining of your blood vessels. And endothelial health, as I've written extensively about, is one of the most critical and underappreciated determinants of long-term cardiovascular function. Better blood flow also directly supports erectile quality. The mechanism that produces and maintains an erection is a circulatory mechanism. It depends entirely on the ability of blood vessels to dilate rapidly and hold pressure. Regular sexual activity keeps that system practiced, responsive, and functional. This is men's health, and it deserves to be taken as seriously as diet and exercise. Benefit number 4, prostate health A&D cancer risk reduction. I want to spend a moment on this one, because the research is both compelling and frequently misunderstood. A landmark study out of Harvard, following more than 30,000 men over nearly 2 decades, found a statistically significant association between ejaculation frequency and reduced prostate cancer risk. Men who ejaculated 21 or more times per month had a meaningfully lower incidence of prostate cancer than those who ejaculated less frequently. Why? The leading hypothesis centers on what researchers call prostatic stagnation. The prostate gland produces a significant portion of seminal fluid, and over time, without regular ejaculation, old cellular material, inflammatory byproducts, and potential carcinogens can accumulate within the gland. Regular ejaculation essentially flushes the prostate, clearing out this biological debris before it has the opportunity to drive inflammatory or neoplastic processes. From an evolutionary standpoint, This makes sense. The prostate is an active secretory organ. It functions best when it functions regularly. Biologically, this is a natural cleansing mechanism. Emotionally, it offers genuine reassurance around one of men's most common and legitimate health fears. Practically, it means that sexual activity isn't just pleasurable, it may be genuinely protective. That said, and I want to be direct about this, it is absolutely not a substitute for regular medical evaluation of your prostate health. Know your SAW levels. See your physician. This is one variable in a complex picture. Benefit number 5, immune system activation. This one surprises most people, but the science is real. Studies examining immune markers in men who experience regular orgasm have found elevated levels of immunoglobulin A, IgA, one of the body's primary mucosal immune defenses. IgA is your first line of protection against airborne viruses and bacterial infections, lining the mucous membranes of your respiratory and digestive tracts. Combine that with the cortisol-lowering effect of regular sexual activity, and chronic cortisol elevation is one of the most potent suppressors of immune function known to medicine, and you get a genuine, if modest, enhancement of immune competence. This isn't a cure. It isn't even a treatment. But it's another data point reinforcing what I've argued consistently: the systems of the body are interconnected. Sexual health is metabolic health, it's immune health, it's cardiovascular health. You cannot fully optimize one without considering all of them. Now, let's talk about the other side of the equation, because intellectual honesty demands it. Daily ejaculation is not without risk, not because it's inherently dangerous, but because habits can evolve in directions we don't consciously intend. Here are the 5 most important drawbacks every man needs to understand. Drawback number 1, the line between habit A and D compulsion. This is where I want you to be genuinely honest with yourself. There is a fundamental difference between choosing ejaculation consciously as a means of stress relief, pleasure, sleep support, or intimacy, and feeling driven toward it compulsively, without real choice in the matter. Compulsive sexual behavior is a recognized clinical pattern. It involves loss of control, escalating frequency despite negative consequences, and a growing disconnect between the behavior and genuine satisfaction or connection. From a neuroscience standpoint, compulsive patterns rewire the dopamine reward system, not by providing more reward, but by requiring increasingly intense stimulation to produce the same baseline feeling. This is the same mechanism at work in any behavioral addiction. And it doesn't announce itself clearly. It creeps in gradually, disguised as habit, normalized by frequency. The diagnostic question is simple, but requires courage to answer honestly. Am I choosing this, or is it choosing me? If your daily ejaculation is intentional, grounded, and consistent with your values and goals, proceed with confidence. If it feels driven by forces you don't fully control, that deserves attention and potentially professional support. Drawback number 2. Using release AS emotional avoidance, every man faces difficult internal states. Stress, boredom, loneliness, grief, frustration. These are part of the human experience, and they demand real responses. The danger arises when ejaculation becomes the default response to every difficult feeling, not because it addresses the underlying state, but because it provides momentary relief. The neurochemical hit temporarily suppresses the discomfort, but the discomfort returns, often stronger, and the pattern deepens. From a biological perspective, this is straightforward. You're training your nervous system to reach for one specific relief pathway every time emotional discomfort arises. Over time, That pathway becomes the only one that feels accessible, while genuine coping strategies, exercise, social connection, purposeful work. Professional therapy, atrophy from disuse. Ejaculation should be one instrument in a man's psychological toolkit. When it becomes the only instrument, it stops being a resource and starts being a limitation. Ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now, and is this the right response to that feeling? Drawback number 3, sperm quality A&D fertility considerations. This point is specifically relevant for men who are actively trying to conceive, and if that doesn't apply to you right now, file it away for the future. Spermatogenesis, the production and maturation of healthy sperm, is not instantaneous. The replenishment cycle for optimal sperm concentration and motility is approximately 48 to 72 hours. Daily ejaculation, particularly over extended periods, can meaningfully reduce sperm concentration and, in some cases, sperm motility. For couples navigating fertility challenges, this is not a minor variable. It's a significant one. The strategic approach in this context is not abstinence, which brings its own set of problems, but timing. Ejaculating every 2 to 3 days, particularly around the female partner's fertile window, tends to optimize both sperm quality and conception probability. This is not about restriction, it's about strategy, applying biological knowledge intelligently toward a specific goal. Drawback number 4, desensitization, A&D diminished desire paradox, is a recurring theme in biology, and here is one that men who ejaculate daily need to take seriously. Too much of any reward stimulus can blunt the very reward system that makes it pleasurable. Dopaminergic adaptation is a well-documented phenomenon. When your brain receives frequent, reliable hits of dopamine from a specific stimulus, it compensates by reducing receptor sensitivity, what researchers sometimes call down regulation. The result is that the same behavior produces less reward over time, requiring either greater frequency or greater intensity to achieve the original effect. In practical terms, men who ejaculate daily, particularly through solitary stimulation, may begin to notice reduced arousal with their partner, a flattening of desire, or a general sense of motivational dullness that seems unrelated to any obvious cause. This is not permanent. A reset period, even 3 to 5 days of reduced frequency, can restore dopamine sensitivity and, with it, both desire and the emotional resonance of intimacy. The body adapts to everything. Understanding that gives you the power to work with it rather than against it. Drawback number 5, conditioned performance patterns. This is perhaps the most clinically underappreciated drawback on this list. The nervous system is extraordinarily good at learning patterns. When daily ejaculation consistently happens through rapid, hurried stimulation, as it often does when frequency becomes the primary driver, the nervous system encodes that pattern as the default template for sexual arousal and response. Over time, this conditioned pattern can contribute to premature ejaculation and performance anxiety in partnered sexual contexts. The body has been trained to sprint, and when the situation calls for something more measured, more connected, more sustained, it struggles. This isn't a moral failing, it's neurobiology, and it responds to behavioral retraining. Techniques like edging, bringing yourself close to orgasm and deliberately pausing, train the nervous system for control rather than speed. Breath regulation during arousal shifts the autonomic nervous system from sympathetic dominance toward parasympathetic engagement, extending duration and deepening sensation. Mindful, unhurried stimulation rewires the conditioned response over time. The goal is not just release. The goal is mastery of your body, your timing, and your presence. The practical bottom line daily ejaculation, approached consciously and in alignment with your biology, your goals, and your overall health, can be a genuinely healthy practice. Approached unconsciously, driven by compulsion, emotional avoidance, or conditioned urgency, it can quietly undermine the very things it seems to provide. The framework I'd recommend is this. First, understand your motivation. Are you choosing this for genuine well-being, or are you running from something? That distinction matters more than frequency. Second, pay attention to downstream effects. Are your energy levels stable? Is your desire for your partner intact or diminishing? Is your sleep improving? Are you performing well cognitively and physically? Your body is constantly giving you data. Learn to read it. Third, align frequency with goals. If fertility is a current priority, adjust accordingly. If you've noticed desensitization or performance concerns, experiment with spacing. Give your biology room to recalibrate. Fourth, build a complete wellness architecture. Sexual release is one pillar of male vitality. It works best alongside quality sleep, resistance training, anti-inflammatory nutrition, stress management, and meaningful social connection. None of these substitutes for the others. And finally, never ignore clinical signals. Changes in erection quality, penile or pelvic pain, urinary symptoms, or any other physical anomaly warrant medical evaluation. These are your body's early warning systems, and they deserve to be taken seriously. I want to close with something that I think matters beyond the biology. If you've carried shame or confusion around this topic, and most men have, because most men were never given an honest clinical conversation about their own sexual physiology, I want you to understand something clearly. The fact that you're here, asking these questions, seeking real knowledge rather than myths or avoidance, is a sign of genuine maturity and self-respect. Sexual health is human health. It is not separate from your cardiovascular health, your neurological health, your psychological health, or your longevity. It is woven through all of it. And understanding it, treating it with the same rigor and care you'd apply to your nutrition or your training, is an act of intelligence, not weakness. The body does not lie. It gives you information continuously. Your job, our job together as physician and patient, as scientist and curious human being, is to learn how to listen. Daily ejaculation can be a healthy, biologically sound practice for many men. It can also become a pattern that quietly undermines health if it's not approached with awareness. The difference between those two outcomes is not frequency. It's intention, self-knowledge, and honest self-observation. You have the power to adjust. That's the most important thing I want you to carry out of this conversation. Small, deliberate changes in behavior, slowing down, spacing out, building genuine coping strategies, communicating openly with your partner can shift your energy, your confidence, and your long-term health in ways that compound over years and decades. Age is not the terminus of male vitality. Whether you're 30, 50, or 70, your biology retains remarkable adaptability. The question is whether you're giving it the information and the environment it needs to express its full potential. That's what evidence-based medicine is for. That's what this channel is for. I'm Dr. William Lee. Thank you for being here, for taking your health seriously, and for being part of a community that believes knowledge is the foundation of real vitality. If this video gave you value, give it a like. Subscribe for more science-backed men's health content each week, and share your questions and reflections in the comments below. I read them, and your engagement genuinely shapes the conversations we have here. Your body is worth understanding. Your health is worth protecting. And your vitality at every age is absolutely worth fighting for. Take care of yourself. You've earned it.